welcome to the Ramon Foster Show on this glorious Friday morning. Moan, what's up?
Not much, man. I hope the trajectory of this season is up, man. That's what I'm hoping.
You know what? We got a bye weekend, obviously, from the Pittsburgh perspective. But that has allowed us a little bit of time to reflect.
Yeah.
And also to look ahead. Yeah. I got to tell you, and everybody who's watching or listening to this, Moan and I just spent some time looking at the Steelers' schedule before popping on here. And go ahead, Moan. You say it first.
Nobody that this team is going to face except for Baltimore is above 500 as it stands right now.
I did not know this until we did it.
Not a single team.
Not one team other than the Ravens. And you can almost take the Ravens and shove them off into a separate category because every game that Pittsburgh and Baltimore play, of course, is separated by 3 points, and anybody can win a 3-point game.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, Moan, New Orleans is first on the list.
Yeah.
The Steelers have them, but they're going to have TJ Watt back. Yep. They're going to be a couple weeks older, and maybe there will have been some at least behind-the-scenes changes to how they do things offensively with these couple weeks. Yeah. Why not? Why not? Read off these teams here.
Man, New Orleans is 3-5 on the season. Let me finish pulling this up, DK. New Orleans is 3-5 on the season, man. Who else is on this list?
Bengals.
Cincinnati's 4-4, 500. Colts is AFC South 3-4-1.
And the whole division stinks. Falcons
is not good. Falcons 4-4 with Marcus Mariota at friggin' quarterback.
Speaking of divisions that stink, then come the Ravens, then come the Panthers.
Oh my gosh, fired their coach already. They're 2-6.
2-6, just like the Steelers.
Raiders, again, a bad organization too right now. They're 2-5.
2-5. That'll be on Christmas Eve. Then the Ravens again, and then the Browns. Finally.
3-5. They talk a lot of crap, and of course they'll have Deshaun back by that time, but 3-5.
Well, I mean, what are we talking about here? Because has it gone under-recognized, including maybe by me and you, that the Steelers had, to this point, the toughest schedule in the NFL? I'm not making excuses, just throwing it out there.
No, we knew that, DK. I think we spoke about it at the beginning of the season. You started looking at the way the Eagles came together. Then you started to realize, well, Miami kind of got it together a little bit too. Buffalo, we knew it was going to be good. The Jets game could have went either friggin' way. Browns game, I felt like too, but you couldn't stop the run in that one. Shouldn't have lost to the Patriots. And you still say to yourself, and then you beat a team like the Bucks. You know, remember that? Remember that win? Okay. This is a team that has the opportunity, if Kenny grows, if this offense finds a way to kind of mesh a little bit. And yes, I'm putting it on Kenny a little bit because right now I think we as fans, the expectations kind of it's dropped a little bit on the fan side. Those dudes inside of that locker room and coaches, they don't think like how we think. They're going out and competing. As a fan right now, expectations have kind of dropped a little bit. You look at this team and says 8 games played, 8 + 9, what is that? That's 17. This team still got a few games left that they can friggin' go. They can get above 500. Like that's where we are right now. And we've seen this happen before. In 2013, DK, we were faced with what? No. I'm just saying we were 2-6 before. That's all I'm going. We were 2-6 before and went 500.
This team have almost nothing.
No, because we're speaking about the same thing. We're talking about a bunch of below 500 teams. That team also wasn't dealing with those types of teams either, DK. We're dealing with a bunch of below-the-line teams right now, and you say to yourself, should you beat Carolina? Yes, you should beat Carolina. Can you have the opportunity to beat the Saints? Yes, you should beat the Colts right now with a backup. They benched Matt Ryan, okay? The Vegas Raiders, you should beat them. Baltimore and Cleveland, hey, toss up. Cincinnati again, toss up.
Division.
They can get 8-9.
See, here's what I'm thinking of, though. I'm not thinking about 8-9 or 9-8 or crazy stuff like that. I just want to see the team get better. Okay, and I understand that you can have your skills sharpened by facing what's the line about the iron?
Iron sharpens iron.
Okay. So by facing the Eagles, okay, and facing, for example, the Eagles' defensive line, you do become, in theory, if you learn from it and apply it, a better football team. It doesn't feel like it, certainly not from watching it, but it is that way, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I meant by like how Kenny develops now. You know what I'm saying? Like this team can really push itself forward, and you can go into next year thinking to yourself, man, we got something. He's proven to be the guy again. Losing Chase Claypool again, addition by subtraction is kind of the way I look at it. Like I don't know if there's much room for another skill guy.
Wow. You just said that?
I did. And I think it's better for him. Chicago had no wide receivers. Okay. They have none. So for him, he can go be the guy there in Chicago, in a big city, with a young team that's needing somebody to be a pass catcher for him. Pittsburgh's, I think that may have been a bit of a problem. You got too many options. And this is the thing too about those options. Most of those guys have either done similar things or around the same age. There's not a real big gap between Deontay and Chase. And then you also have a guy that has the potential to have the stardom of those two guys too, along with Najee being a part of it. Like there is a such thing. This isn't college where those guys leave and graduate and go to the NFL. You got to manage a roster also, right?
Sure. And I just like the fact that like is too strong a term.
Okay,
they're two and
what are
six.
you doing liking
they're
stuff right now?
6. Listen to you. Yeah. They're 2-6. So there's nothing to like. Okay.
Yeah.
However, if you had to put it in a sequence, you would have had this team facing the challenges that it did while TJ was out. Probably, those were going to be tough games to win regardless.
Yeah.
Okay? You come back, and regardless, forgetting, playoffs and other silliness like that, there's that's not even coming up in this discussion. Okay.
Right.
To me, it's just get better, build confidence, and project toward next season, because that's one of the things that you guys did in 2013. You came back, you fell short, okay, but you were back on your footing again as a franchise, as a football team.
Yep. Yeah, and again, like I said, I think it starts and ends with the quarterback. Guys having the ability to grow up a little bit, DK. And if they don't have a self-check and realize they're fighting for more than just this season, meaning their jobs and competition going into camp, then something wrong. I think that's where you are with when it comes with like the growth, right? That's all we're asking at this point. I think we're all tired of seeing a bad product, basically.
Get better, okay? Yeah. I hate to take the bar and move it down here or whatever, but it's been, like you just said, it's been several weeks of this.
Yeah.
And what you want to see, especially on the offensive side of the football, I really believe this, because you have the first rounders over there, you have all that young group over there. Just get better. Find somebody that you feel like you can knock around a little bit.
Or get a win streak. Okay? 2 in a row. Let's start there. That's all I'm asking.
They're going to have to win 1 before they can win 2. So we've already probably taken this too far. I just like where this schedule is at this point in this franchise's existence. I like the idea that they can go ahead and maybe build up something here and carry it into next year.
You can enjoy this adversity is what you're saying.
Exactly. Right now. Yeah. When we come back, more of the Ramon Foster Show. Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show. And again, before anybody thinks we've both been lobotomized here or something, no one's predicting greatness or whatever. The Steelers have the worst points differential in the entire National Football League, and it's not even close. They're at minus 77, and the next team, the next worst differential, is Detroit's at minus 52. So the Lions are 1-6. The Steelers are even worse than that, by a mile. Yeah. However, not all of these teams are in the same circumstances, and we have seen the difference that one specific player makes, and I mean immensely so, whether he's in or out.
Yeah.
And I mean, TJ Watt and his return can't be overstated, can they?
No, he cannot, man. And this is the guy that reputation follows him, okay? no matter what you say, it's there for him. You talk about the points differential, DK, like that's what's so interesting about it. Like if this team was able to at least put up some of Detroit's points, we have a different conversation. And on the other side, what you need to be able to do is stop team getting those points, man. We've seen quarterbacks extend plays, stand in the pocket, deliver however, whenever they wanted to. And I think with TJ being out there, again, I like Alex Highsmith. You match him up with Cam, you got something cool. But then there's such a big gap on the other side of the line of not having as much success as you would with TJ, meaning Malik Reed hasn't been that guy, and it's not his fault. TJ is a defending defensive player of the year and probably was on his way again this year. I think he single-handedly controlled most of that Cincinnati game, if we're being real about it, right? So,
I mean, in every way.
Yeah, he was he terrorized them, man. And with that being said, I think Minka holds the back end of the defense accountable. But on the front end, it's kind of hard to have a guy like Cam being the leading force behind it. You need people with you to kind of drag everybody, you know what I'm saying, to the party. And I think that's where TJ comes into play. There's a level of having a high play all the time when he's around. Because you know, for a guy that has to give him a spell like Malik Reed when TJ does come back, then you got to say to yourself, I got to maximize my reps instead of pacing myself through my reps. You see what I'm saying? That's what it adds. There's a non-stopping factor whenever you have a guy like TJ on your defense and getting him back, at least to put some strain on that points differential, DK. That's embarrassing.
It's amazing. The other thing that ends up playing out here is that the players around TJ get better. Yes. I'm going to give an example here. We've all congratulated Alex Highsmith a million times over for having the 6.5 sacks and everything else here. Little known thing, 3 of those came in the Cincinnati game. Okay, and TJ was a participant in that game. Yeah. So a lot of the things that the Bengals would have done or schemed for and everything else would have still been based on number 90 being out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And
you just can't overstate the impact that he has.
No, you cannot, man. And this guy is that dude for a reason. We buy tickets to come see certain guys, and TJ Watt is one of those men. Okay. And I know he's not scoring points, but he's affecting the other team that does score points, is what we're saying. This is hey, if you are coming back, TJ, we welcome you with open hands segment.
How about Cam? How about the impact that he has on Cam? Here, you can explain that. You're an interior offensive lineman. Tell me how Cam benefits because from TJ's return. What's it mean technically?
It puts Cam in more one-on-one situations to where it's more dangerous for him to be by himself. Like, you got to direct guys to TJ to where Cam can rush down the middle of a center, and you really got to have the right guard and right tackle focus in on TJ. And that's where Cam presses the pocket and everybody else get those sacks, like in Alex Highsmith. It creates an angst that you don't believe when you have those two types of guys out there. Okay, and that's why Baltimore always really give teams fits, because they have big guys up the middle that can push the pocket, and they got always really good edge rushers that can close the deal. Calais Campbell push it up the middle, Brandon Williams push it up the middle, and then you got other guys around the edge cleaning it up. Like, you say what you want to, it is strategic in how you build defenses, and I almost look at Baltimore and Pittsburgh as being essentially the same thing, the way they kind of draw it up.
Oh, I can see that. I mean, for sure. Here's some amazing numbers here. Check this out.
Yeah.
This is when TJ Watt plays. 2017, 56 sacks for the team, first overall. First. 2018, 52 sacks, tied for first. 2019, 54 sacks, first. 2020, 56 sacks, first. 2021, 55 sacks, first.
Yeah.
2022, week 1, just the Bengals game. 7 sacks, tied for first. 2022, this year, since week 2, the Steelers have 8 total sacks, tied for the fewest in the National Football League. It's freak show stats.
He means a lot. Is he scoring points? No, but he's affecting how other teams score points. Rushing coverage work hand in hand. Getting TJ Watt back with that intensity and that kick door celebration is welcomed. Okay, it's so welcomed. And maybe this also helps out the guys in practice with them being able to block a little bit better too. Let me just throw that out there for my guys that protect the quarterback.
When we come back on the Ramon Foster Show, the only segment that matters.
It's Hey Moan.
Welcome back to the Ramon Foster Show, and the only segment that matters. It's brought to you by the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail so that every sub, burger, salad, wrap, drink, and app is crafted for craveability. Order your favorite item at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. Moan, today's Hey Moan comes from Steve, who says, hang on, I got to back it up here. Ready? Hey, Moan! I'm curious, when a player is traded mid-season and has to fly out immediately to his new team, does the current team provide assistance to pack up and move his property, or is it up to the player/agent to do that? What about a lease? If he's renting, he's buying, do the teams have rental assistance when they first arrive to address this issue? Little does Steve know, Mo never had to deal with this.
No, I haven't.
But you were a union rep, so you're probably familiar with all of this.
I've seen guys deal with it before. They pretty much leave almost everything behind them. You know, it's the way it works for the most part. Like Chase is in Chicago right now. He'll probably have to hire a moving company to move stuff, but Chicago Bears, they'll have housing for him in some capacity. I saw he had somebody offer his house up to him to stay in for a little while because he doesn't know the city, don't know where to stay at. Most of the time, they'll have like hotel, like the connections to get a guy in, or those long stay type of places. All the guy really needs for the most part is some clothes, a vehicle, and a place to stay at, and they'll be able to provide some of that for him. I checked their schedule. The Bears, they have a bye week, week 14. So he'll have a little bit of a grace period to grab that. But for the most part, everything stays behind. You move into the next city, and you can try to have somebody set up moving, but you got to be honest with yourself. Chase is probably still in a toss-up about if he wants to stay in Chicago and, you know, where his residence has to be at. I think Chicago's a great city if you wanted to settle there as a young single guy like he is. He could probably get a condo somewhere or stay somewhere in the suburbs. But just in general, I don't think there's much movement because the only thing that matters right now is his production on the field.
Well, a couple of things you mentioned that I want to touch on. One is, doesn't Chase... He's got some people with him, right?
Yeah. Okay. He will.
No. I mean, he's surrounded by people. He's got a lot of people around him. They can do work. All right. So I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Yeah. Not everybody does.
No.
There's no Chris Boswell posse.
No,
you know,
no, he got some people. But I'll say this: with those people, some of the time they usually don't do work or know how to. He's the guy that directs everything. The hanger-ons is what you're talking about. No, those folks don't usually know how to do much when it comes down to that type of stuff, which is kind of sad too, because he's the guy with the check and everybody follows his orders, man. Except most of the time they don't know how to do anything except for laugh around them and say, yeah. A lot of those people don't know how to change tires if he caught a flat, but he'll
put stuff up on Instagram.
If he can direct somebody to hire somebody for him, that will be the best bet. But yes, most of the time those apartment complexes will let guys out of their lease because the team can usually reach out in Pittsburgh and say, hey, he needs to break this lease, and maybe he'll have to pay till the end of the year, But I can see Chase coming back to Pittsburgh in the offseason also.
I am insisting that one of the followers of this fine program concocts a meme of Boswell, the Boz crew. Boz and all his hangers on. Somebody do it. We'll put it on Twitter if you send it to us. Just get it to us. We promise. That's just priceless stuff there potentially.
I will say this though. I saw his going away chases, that is.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen a guy take farewell pictures the way he did though, which is fine and dandy to me. I was just like, I guess it broke while he was in the locker room coming off the practice field.
It did.
So that would have been a little weird. So
yeah,
I feel like from here on out, he'll be unattached to a lot of the business when it comes to this type of stuff.
But the other thing I can't help but let go, and even though you mentioned it just briefly, is that his bye week doesn't come until week 14.
Yeah.
There are guys who got traded this week who have to play 18 games who get no bye week. How, Mr. Union Rep, did that loophole ever make its way into the bylaws? How did somebody at the union not stand up and say, hey, listen, nobody plays 18 games? How did that happen?
It never crossed my mind to bring it up, because this is the other thing too. Trades don't hardly happen like this in the NFL.
They seem to be happening more, though.
Well, player control for the most part, it's ramping up a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, well, Chase does get a week off in week 14, and he can call Boz and Boz's crew up for some assistance here. Moan, have a good weekend. Just going to kick back and watch the games?
That's it, man. My college team got a big one this weekend against Georgia. Alabama, LSU should be a good one this weekend also. Man, it's good college ball on, and I watch some of these other boring games that got to come on too. I'm looking forward to it.
Let's talk Monday, Mo.
Yeah, a stress-free weekend.
That's it. That's how I feel. Totally stress-free. I'm into it.